If the government stays the way it is and it feels like it's not trying to fight those issues, especially in this country, we could be heading towards a very dystopian future.
Somewhere around the midpoint of making this documentary, some of my optimism just flew out the window.
That's going to be within the next decade. It's kind of too late to pivot.
It wasn't coming on 3-11. Heavy blood started to matter out. Just tell me.
I don't know, I was really drunk at the time.
I think almost everyone in the world intuitively knows that something bad is going to happen. And those who don't are either boomers or they're coping.
So what we're facing is potentially AI systems that are smarter than any human at doing a wide range of things, but also that are potentially 100, 1,000, maybe 100,000 times faster.
I think if things go sideways, well, a lot of people are going to panic in the chaos.
Right. Oh, immediately. People will be panicking, people will be trying to group up.
When climatic stability changes, the results can be disastrous, resulting in crop failure, starvation, and desertification.
Environmental factors is one of the primary reasons for climate efforts.
But in 2022, China had more deaths than births, causing its population to decrease for the first time in 6 decades.
As the days go on, I slowly start to think, was Wall-E right? Like, I don't know, man. Like, you see these fat people on chairs just flying around, see the fucking devices, like, connected to the chair. They got 50 billion different screens. They're just fed food over and over again. Like, I don't know, man. I'm starting to think maybe Wall-E was onto something. Because if you think about it, technology just makes our life easier and easier. In the year like 2100, just imagine like how much easier life is going to be. And I guess my prediction is everything is going to become more digital and life is just going to continue to get easier. I mean, I'm sorry I'm going like deep philosopher mode on this shit, but I don't know.
2023, the post-internet era. What a time to be alive. We have access to an abundance of knowledge. You know, we got ChatGPT, Google, we've got Prime energy drinks, Ice Spice, Logan Paul. You can search anything up on Google. You know, you could search up cabbages, you can search up how to build a bomb. You see, pop culture and technology is ever growing. It's going to continue to get more, you know, it's going to change. We got the expansion of AI last year, and now it's becoming more advanced, you know, terrifyingly more advanced actually. And last year we also saw the whole thing with Ukraine, and we've still got good old global warming. Problem after problem, year after year. There's always, you know, a new issue. Obviously that's life. But it's safe to say, we as a society have a lot of problems on our plate. And we're going to be discussing this type of shit in this documentary. We've got a triangle, and over there, we've got our problems. Here we've got a ranking, I guess you could say. This is basically like a tier list, really. What I'm going to do for this segment is I'm basically going to rank apocalyptic threats by their likelihood of happening and their likelihood of wiping us all out. Now that that's out of the way, we can go over the rankings. Starting off with our first apocalyptic threat, overpopulation. Overpopulation is actually happening right now in many Asian countries, so you're probably thinking that this is gonna go in the top tier. But no. Okay, hold your horses, okay? Hold your horses. The curveball here is that people often think overpopulation will throw humanity into a deadly spiral of death. But the truth is, it won't kill everyone. It's only gonna bring the population down to a steady decline. So not everyone and their grandma will perish. A lot of people will be fine. However, there will be some problems, such as resource scarcity, which honestly I don't know how the fuck that'll go. This is going in 50-50. Alright, what else do we have? Okay, wow, yeah, climate. Global warming has been seen as a massive threat to humanity for years now. It's probably the most talked about threat on this list. However, I do think the problem at hand goes away when you get a very rich person to help cool down the planet. And besides, why would they put all of their money and time onto something so extrinsic when they could be making more money otherwise? What really makes this situation more more shit is that us humans can actually get in the way of things. We'll probably say we'll stop doing this or stop doing that, but we won't. And that's how it is with global warming and climate change. Yeah, so this is definitely going in likely because we're starting to see the effects today, and it's pretty shit. It's been a very well-known fact that the more interconnected the world becomes, the more difficult a large-scale pandemic can be dealt with. For example, we had the Black Death, and that's also why a lot of the cavemen back in the good old days survived and, you know, managed to live the tale. It's because they were all living in caves, hiding away. None of them ever went outside, and so they never really caught anything. It's pretty terrifying when you realize that any pandemic much more deadlier than the coronavirus, which we had in 2020, could just start occurring at any moment in time. And judging from what we had, you know, from the last pandemic and with how people reacted, I'm pretty sure, you know, we're fucked. And you're probably thinking right now that this will go in the "this is bad" tier. But no, you see, natural pandemics are actually unlikely to affect every human on the planet, because you need to first infect everyone and then second, kill. Not everyone will die because not everyone will be infected. Probably some, you know, blokes in Antarctica right now as we speak, they probably wouldn't get infected, obviously. But I'll put this in likely because you never know when it could happen. Next up on the list is artificial intelligence. I know nothing about artificial intelligence. I've not done a single crumb of research. And you know what? I'm not going to do any research anyway because I kind of want to learn more about artificial intelligence as I get this documentary done. If there is one thing I do know about AI, however, is technological singularity, which is basically the threshold where, you know, AI surpasses humans. And that sounds fucking horrifying if you ask me. I'm gonna put AI on 50-50. My opinion will probably change later. Nuclear war. We're going Oppenheimer in this mode. Hypothetically speaking, if we were to use all of the nuclear missiles in the world and throw them into densely populated cities, that'd probably kill a good majority of us. I'm not smiling, by the way. That wasn't a smile. However, from how many cities and towns and, you know, settlements that are on planet Earth, I'd say at least a whopping 3 billion humans would probably survive. Not every place on the planet would be wiped out with nuclear missiles. I don't necessarily think that there will be a nuclear war in our lifetime. Well, you never know really, but I hope not. I also believe that anyone in their right mind who is smart enough to have access to using nuclear weapons surely does know that going nuclear has no winners anyway and will just kill us all. This is going in 50-50. You know what? Fuck it. We're doing a speed run. Overpopulation, I don't know why I put it in 50-50. End of the universe, it's gonna happen eventually, it's inevitable. Super volcano eruption. Alright, look, to any of those that say, you know, Yellowstone erupting will like destroy the whole planet, it won't, okay? It will just affect the local area surrounding it, you know? And besides, a lot of people would survive with current technology, you know? Some scientists can literally detect when a volcano will erupt. Yeah, here, put it here. Alright, solar flare destruction, don't worry. Some people think that there's going to be an internet apocalypse in 2025. Even if that did happen, it wouldn't necessarily destroy everything, you know? Technological stagnation, alright, I'm sure a lot of you don't know about this. Technological stagnation is basically when a civilization stops advancing and stays on their planet. Well, I'd say don't worry as of right now. Alien invasion, alright, don't worry either for now. But honestly, I don't think any alien civilization would reveal themselves due to the risk factor, you know. Honestly, go search up the Fermi paradox on Google. But yeah, I'd say that's the complete rankings, I guess. Now, there are a few other problems that I wanted to talk about on this list, but I think it's time now to move on to Doncaster College, the best place to film an interview at. From the help of some very trustworthy friends, I managed to put together a whole interview. And then I interviewed my friends and I gave them very threatening questions. In response, however, they did give some pretty good answers. So this is how it went down. So question number one, what do you think of the world today?
I think it's a very complex question, that, because as a person that is very optimistic, I can't see it fully negative, but also not fully positive either.
I feel like the world today is a lot better than it was, because obviously, you know, there's some issues we faced in the last few years, but I think it is a lot better than it has been. There are some things, you know, like pollution and stuff like that, which are a big issue.
A lot of people don't really understand mental health properly. A lot of people don't understand a lot of the LGBTQ plus community. There's a lot of hatred in a lot of the communities I'm in, and I'm just getting very sick and tired of it.
I think there are good elements and bad elements. I think we're still doing things that we maybe shouldn't be doing, like war and bombing and global warming, but at the same time, I think the world's always going to have its good bright spots in life. You know, there's still good people out there doing good things.
Well said. Yeah, I agree.
I don't believe that we're in a dire state. Like, yeah, the UK personally is in a horrendous state. The economy has crashed. It's terrible. People are starving, people are dying in their homes, people can't even afford to heat their homes. I believe we can make it out of this. We should be smarter about it. And I feel like the government should be stepping in more to help with this. But because people that are running this country are horrendously focused on stealing money from us.
What do you think would happen if a new virus more threatening than COVID-19 was announced on the news?
I think everything would just go back to lockdown again.
COVID-19 wasn't even that bad. Like, it was bad, but it wasn't that bad. I feel like, to be honest, if there was a new virus, because of the mindset that people had with COVID, I feel like people are not going to think it's that serious.
I think personally, they would just ignore it. I don't, again, the first time it happened, it was this big dramatic thing. Everyone was listening, everyone was following the rules. People were dying en masse, millions of people were dying daily. I don't think people care anymore. I feel like it happened again. People say, oh, it's just a common cold. I've got people in my life that have said that. Oh, I don't care anymore. It's just a common cold.
Absolutely, yeah. And just from the way people reacted with COVID, you know, everyone just going and saying, I feel like it would be like doubled. Sort of.
Yeah.
I don't think, especially our government, I don't think they've learnt the lessons of COVID. And I think if something else like it but worse were to happen, we just go back to that, right, everything's shut down for like months.
How do you think people and like social media would react to this new virus and the fact that there's another lockdown again?
If it's really, really bad and a lot of people are dying and all these places are being shut down again, I feel like it's going to be really bad for the economy especially.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I think you get that thing again of people, okay, I'm trapped in a house on my own now, what do? I've got social media, and people will just start making more. 'Cause if you look at COVID, there was like a massive spike in people starting podcasts and like video creation. So I think you just see that again. If you don't let people go out, they'll try and find things that they can do at home.
Now, aside from the fact that I probably did Noah Banks dirty by pausing at this very moment in time, I'm so sorry, Noah. I think we should take some time to appreciate how thoughtful these answers have been and how positive these three individuals have approached my questions. But with that being said, we're now going to lean on to the more dark questions. So, yeah, let's see how that turns out. Do you think that there will be a war, some sort of World War III, whether it's a nuclear war or a normal fought-out war? Do you think there will be a war in our lifetime?
Probably. I think there probably will be. You know, I mean, we didn't really ever expect, you know, the World War III, I guess you could say, with Russia and Ukraine. Never expected that, but it happened.
I'm not sure if there'll be like a nuclear war in our lifetime, because there's that whole aspect of if everybody has a nuke, you have mutually assured destruction, which is one person fires a nuke, they go, okay, well, who have you angered by shooting a nuke at them? We're going to retaliate by shooting a nuke at you. And then there'd be this whole element, well, we're not going to shoot a nuke at you because you'd shoot a nuke back. So you have that whole mutually assured destruction thing.
Do you think that artificial intelligence is a threat to humanity or a potential opportunity for human advancement?
Right now, it's not that bad. AI, you know, it's sort of just like Google, but in like a physical form. But in the future, it's going to become like we are. So we've got feelings, we've got ideas, we've got, you know, ways of thinking. They don't have that yet, but I feel like eventually it will happen. Yeah, they'll start to evolve in a way.
I think, depending how it's used, it could either be a threat or a friend. It could definitely be used to benefit certain things, but at the same time, if it's just used to replace things, like computers can't be creative in the same way humans can. So go, all right, we're gonna fire all our writers and get AI to do that, then you'll see a massive decrease in quality because AI can't create, it can only replicate.
How do you think the future will go from now, positive or negative?
It entirely depends on what actions are taken. I believe there are a lot of issues nowadays with the climate, with politics, with a lot of people just being very angry at the world. And I believe if the right actions are taken and the government tries to stay on top of those issues and deal with them in the right way, then we could be heading towards a very bright future. But if the government stays the way it is and it feels like it's not trying to fight those issues, especially in this country, we could be heading towards a very dystopian future.
And it was at that moment that I, Harvey Peter Charles Downs, had realised that I never ever had agreed to a statement like that before. It was that before this documentary, I was kind of oblivious to these problems. It was that before this documentary, I genuinely would have disagreed with Noah here. I probably would have argued that the future is going to be great, that we've got lots of great things in store for us, and in some ways we do, but he's right. After ranking all these threats, all these apocalyptic scenarios, it really starts to have an effect, and you really do think more about these topics at hand. When you really go into depth with your research on things such as the Israel-Palestine war, or global warming's current effects, or overpopulation, technological singularity, you name it, literally all of the things I've discussed in this documentary, you really start to see a pattern. There's a lot of problems on our plate, and I will discuss more of this later. My mind is on something far more important. A new goal. I have no time to dwell, and you're probably wondering, what is this goal? Well, I need more answers. Now, I've been a bit curious, you know, pretty interested in artificial intelligence throughout this whole documentary, and I wanted to know more. I'll admit, I really did want to learn more about AI. I needed answers, but luckily, I had a good old friend of mine, Tyler Squilliam Ilsley, Wheat Boy, a man I had known for many years, a man I had known throughout my whole childhood. We threw apples at each other in the fields, all the way. I basically interviewed him, and yeah, it went pretty solid. Alright, here we go. Hopefully I can get some answers, because I think he does know quite a lot about AI, so Tyler Squilliam Ilsley, you're going to be interviewed about AI, because I think you know a bit about AI, you know.
I certainly do.
Anyway, so, when was the last time you used ChatGPT or any AI service, and how much did it help you? You know, how much did it benefit you?
The last time I used it was a few days ago for my documentary, actually. So I wanted to find out what some directors who I'm studying for the documentary had said about AI. And I searched it on Google. Not many answers were showing up, not many quotes. I actually went on ChatGPT and I put in something along the lines of quotes Stanley Kubrick made about AI.
Oh, yeah.
And then it came up. So basically what it had done is search deeper than what I could find on normal web search.
Yeah, because I reckon if you hadn't used AI, you probably wouldn't have had as much success as opposed to like just finding it yourself. See, that's the thing. Yeah. That's the thing with AI. It just guarantees your success. My next question. So, do you believe that some aspects of filmmaking, you know, some jobs, you know, whether it's screenwriting, editing, whatever, do you think that some of those aspects will be replaced by AI in the future?
In some cases, they already have. So the recent strike against Hollywood was partially because the uptake in AI and fearing that AI would replace some of these jobs.
Yeah.
And in some cases they have been. And so, well, what's being done about it is that the contracts regarding AI in film and TV has been crunched down so that doesn't happen. However, in some cases, AI is being used for film, but it's being used in a way that's good. So take, for example, animation. A few years ago, a film came out called Into the Spider-Verse. What they did essentially was use artificial intelligence to outline things that would take the animators 5 years to outline. And that's like the good thing, because that is not just made by an AI, but is kind of co-collaborated by the artists to essentially make workflow on artists better. So it's kind of, you know, a good thing in that sense.
We're getting into the more, I guess you could say, adventurous questions.
Let's dig in.
Do you agree that AI will surpass humans and reach technological singularity? And by surpassing humans, I mean as a whole, as a separate civilization, you know.
I think that there is a chance that it could happen. That's kind of for the future to tell, but the kind of blueprint is there.
Yeah, the foundation.
It could happen. It's definitely not going to be in like 25 years.
Definitely not, no.
It'd be thousands upon thousands of years.
Yeah. So we're on our last question. Aside from the dangers of AI, do you think that there is any other threat right now that may lead to the collapse of society in the near future? So we're talking...
definitely climate change.
Yeah, climate change, yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's going to be within the next decade, bearing in mind that some smaller islands and regions are currently in danger and can easily be taken over. So at what point in the future will most places be fucking water?
The sea levels are rising.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of too late to pivot because people have sat around too much. But it's like, I think that would definitely be kind of a cause of collapse within the future. Yeah, because it's literally happening now.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I have to ask you, because I have actually gotten some answers now. So,
awesome.
Yeah, thanks for answering my questions and being good help.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks. All right, I'm gonna stop recording now. Alright, in this segment, I'm gonna give my my full opinion on this thing, because I've not really been doing that this whole documentary. I've just been, hearing other people out. My fucking ears poking. So, what I really think, okay, now, what Noah mentioned earlier, I 100% agree with. I think with how people, politicians, rich people, how they're handling, societal problems in today's world, such as climate change, global warming, you name it. With how they're handling these problems, I think it can lead to a path of just total catastrophe, havoc. Get it? Road to Havoc. But my point is, and I've got lots of hope, I genuinely do, but I do think there are ways to outrun this and go the other direction. And I think we are starting to see the pendulum swing. I'm starting to notice a lot of people are sort of realizing what's going on, which is really, honestly, it's quite reassuring. And that's also partially the reason why I made this documentary, aside from the fact it's a college project, because I've sort of realized, the problems. What the fuck was that? But I am hopeful, and I'm gonna stay positive. And I'll be honest, this documentary, somewhere around the midpoint of making this documentary, some of my optimism just flew out the window. When you're ranking problems, what I talked about earlier, it does have an effect, like I said, and you sort of manifest some of that negativity without even realizing. Your subconscious just fucking straight up puts it in your brain. And if any of you are watching from college and you've sort of noticed my mood change from every now and then, it's probably because of this. But I am hopeful, and I'd rather stay on the more positive side. And I've clearly not done that in this documentary, but I'm glad I did. Now that I've seen both sides, I can sort of take one thing from the other. And who knows what could happen. Maybe things will change for the better. Maybe they won't. When I talk about these problems, they aren't necessarily, affecting, some of them aren't necessarily affecting us now. Some are, some aren't. And even if they did, the climax would probably be a good 100, 200, 300 years from now. Maybe even like 1,000 years from now. But yeah, overall, I'm glad I made this documentary, and I'm really looking forward to what the future has to offer.
Goodbye, cruel world. I'm leaving you today. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye, all you people. There's nothing you can say to make me change.